Session today. First item up is a discussion of the working waterfront engineering plans.
All right, I'll jump right in. Scott Hutchinson with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood. Last council meeting, last work session, we talked about needing a decision from you guys from the council on a couple items. And what I'll do is just go through the three of those four items and see if you've reached a decision, or maybe we can make one pretty quick. So the first one here is that you see on the screen this would be the seawall. This would be really what you'd only see it from the water, or maybe walking east down the pier. You'd be able to see some of it, but what we're asking for is the one of these four choices for material. So, anybody got anything?
I've met with most of the council members, or council, and I guess the consensus would be limestone or Kingston.
Okay.
Let's see if we can't push that a little bit so we don't spend it in the council meeting. Council President, can I ask you to maybe take an informal poll so we don't get hung up in the meeting on that?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I'm where the mayor. I'm limestone or Kingstone. I like either one.
I think that's fine. I think Councilman Martin, I know, he was in favor of limestone. Mayor, did you have
I have Kingston.
Kingstone?
Yeah.
Councilman Burrell, did you have a preference?
I really don't. If I have to be the deciding vote, I'll pick one.
Councilman B?
What's the far left?
Far left is Ledgestone.
Ledgestone.
So that's the only one. Nobody liked that, right?
I like that one.
I like that.
All right, so we got.
Let me put it this way. I'll take it when they put up there. Just put one
I'm
up
there
there.
with you.
The Kingstone, that's just my personal preference, not that that matters, but.
Now, which one is that one?
It kinda,
Far right.
Far right. It kind of mimics the existing sand color out there.
That's what I thought. It's more the look.
Yeah.
Councilman Roberts?
Kingston it is?
Kingstone it is.
Awesome.
Enough people like
I'll go with
Kingstone?
Kingstone.
How hard
Okay.
was that?
Okay, Kingstone.
Kingstone. Okay. Next, you don't have an option here really, because the cart stuff it needs to be ADA requirement. So that's really just the shape that it will be with the 5x5 interior for a wheelchair. What I need though is, let's talk about. I'm gonna scroll kind of back and forth. I'll go through them real quick, and then we'll talk about them. This is the canopy, the actual structure, covered, uncovered. You know, the look of the cart itself.
Want me to tell you?
Yeah, sure.
Most everybody that I talked to, like the open air with the shade. There was only one council member who liked the dome, so.
Okay. So we have, that's polycarbonate. It's you can see through it. The picture doesn't really show you that well, so it's kind of clear. That's fabric. That's the not the cable car, and then and you said not the dome. So
That one right there.
So that one right there.
One behind?
I'm sorry, sure.
Or the other one with the green fabric.
That one.
All right. Wood, polycarbonate, fabric. Not that, and not the dome.
All
I
right,
can
so-
see the dome getting kind of scratched, yeah, and in a few months probably looking kind of.
Scott, how long will the ride take? 5 seconds? I
I
thought
was
if
a
they
little
were
longer.
heated cover for 5
I'm
seconds.
fine with
Yeah,
that, but
it-
if it helps maintain the interior.
It's probably not, yeah, it may help with the interior a little bit, but it's probably more for just looks than anything.
But I mean, we heard a lot of people saying they don't want to arch over the walkway to the pier, but this dome seems as intrusive as any of those.
I was in favor of just, if you go back to the very beginning, that cart
Yeah, on
the initial.
this first slide, yeah.
Back.
Nope, keep
back.
going, that right
That,
there.
I kind of thought it was going to look just like that.
I'm-
That's what I'd be in favor of.
No cover?
No cover at all,
Okay.
personally.
That's me, where I'm at. Simple's better there, to me.
Yeah,
Less,
less is
I mean, it's
more.
less expensive.
Less to evangelize.
Less to have to maintain.
And less, I mean,
Going
less
up.
obtrusive to look at, I mean, you
Yeah.
know.
It's-
I mean, without something projecting out
Low
the top.
profile.
It's realistically, it's probably a 30-second ride, so, I mean, it's not
To go, how far down does it descend? 10 feet?
20.
20 feet?
Yeah.
They don't want a G-force on them or anything.
No.
We can start charging for it if we make it really fast.
You're probably gonna have to stand in line waiting for it longer.
You
than
probably,
you're gonna have to
you're
take the
exactly
ride.
right.
Any shade would be for a bench there, I would think.
Yeah.
So
And the
you-
bottom is pretty shady, you know, down the bottom there.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're walking, you wouldn't have anything if you were, so it kind of falls in line with whether you're walking or going down the traditional, you know, in a wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
down the sidewalk. I mean, it's still all open air out there. I just think for the short of a ride, it seems like it would be silly to have it enclosed for sure,
Okay.
beyond what's necessary for safety. But so is that an option, what's right here on the
Oh,
first
yeah,
slide?
yeah.
Council members, is that good to y'all?
My vote would be no cover.
Okay. Okay, all right, sound like.
Ride with
no
the top
cover?
down.
What's that?
Riding with the top down.
Yep,
All
no,
right.
no cover on that.
That's great, works for me.
All right,
And the favorite subject, okay, the entrance to the pier. We have the concept A, B, C, which is nothing, and D.
kind of like a hybrid of A and C, personally. Council members, I like,
Yeah, the column height of A with the city seal.
but cut it down a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little bit with some flowering on top of like that,
Column height of that,
or cut it down a little bit, and then with some sort of basket, flower basket on top of it.
Yeah.
so no arch across it, is that what you're telling me?
And what about council members? Do y'all have a preference?
I like A, personally.
Councilman Robinson?
I like the columns on A, but I don't like the arch.
Is there another arch that you like better, or just no arch?
I don't really like any arch.
Councilman Beaman, you got a preference? Nope. No preference. Did Councilman Martin?
My wife has trained me fine. She says I have taste for crap, so when it comes to aesthetics, I'm not real good at
Councilor
it.
Martin did not like it, didn't like it.
Didn't like anything.
Okay.
So a column would be fine. Column, arch would be fine.
So maybe something like A.
Call them
down to-
no arch.
Surprise me. Pick one out, surprise me.
I'm all out of surprises on this.
I mean, you know, obviously everybody knows it's the pier. They're looking at it.
Yeah.
I kind of,
And you're in Fairhope, so
I thought about, everybody knew it was the Fairhope Single Tax Colony, but back in the 20s and 30s, they did have a sign there that said it's a Fairhope Single Tax Colony. I guess that's why it was the nostalgia of it to me. But I'm
it doesn't.
not
really
willing to
doesn't
put up a
matter.
big
Whatever y'all wanna
fight
do.
one way or the other on it.
I like the seal in the column. I think that looks good.
I guess if you don't have an arch, do you need a column that tall though, if you're looking at A?
That's what I'm saying, I'd cut the columns down.
No.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a same height, really. About half the height, you think, of that?
Half or 2/3, maybe, 2/3.
2/3. Okay.
And I do like the lights on the top.
The light, oh, like that right there? Okay.
And that could actually, if we put a rail on the bulkhead, you could replicate that light to give some light into the walkway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Small,
Okay.
If they get too short, you might want up lighting instead of down
yeah,
lighting there.
depending on how bright.
Yeah, good point. Okay. So columns, no arch, half to 2/3 of that height, right there. Is that what we're? Okay. And then, I don't have a slide, but last but not least is the bulkhead that's there, the seawall that's there, whether or not we need rails, and we, I
Go
mean,
back to,
Hmm?
go back to the bulkhead stone. Right there, see how that's kind of what he's talking about, the railing there,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to exactly be like that, but something like that along the bulkhead.
yeah, I've tried to find really an out, with maybe some backup that we don't have to do it, but really, if we go out there and modify it from the IBC code does directly require anything over, gosh, I think 30 inches or something like that of drop off, we do need a rail on that, so.
And how substantial does that rail need to be? I know we talked about trying to find like a chain or something that drew, but that's.
Yeah, it's
fly,
good.
right?
If you do a rail, it needs to be with the 4-inch pedestals and then the normal ADA code for,
It's gonna be rigid.
for,
I think it would have to be rigid as opposed to chains.
yeah, it's got to, yeah, similar to that,
Yeah.
really. And, well, that's spike top, you won't want that, obviously, but I think 42 inches high. But again, if the council chooses, I mean, it's your choice.
Whatever.
You know, I
just-
see people
I just
throw
don't have-
cast nets off that wall a lot, and, you know, we've got a railing on the pier, you can't throw one off of there really with the railing, and you wouldn't be able to throw one on that walkway. I'm being mindful of maybe potential liability. Have we had any instances of people falling off in there? I mean, there's water below.
If we ever had anybody report it, and I'm sure people probably, but there's rock.
Nobody that would admit they fell in there.
That's what I was thinking.
You mess them up.
Well, if you had to have a rail in there, can you go horizontal with wider spacing between, or does it need to be designed similar to what's on that second?
It needs to be those vertical
Okay.
posts, 4 inches between them.
So you couldn't go with the 4-inch spacing on the horizontal stainless cable.
I don't know. I will
That's
I
almost
would
find out.
say
Full
horizontal.
circle.
If you do the horizontal with the thin cable, you can see, you
That's
can
what I'm
see
thinking.
through it fairly easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I'm sure that's fine, as
I mean,
long as
I'm
it's,
sure we got the budget for it. I mean,
as long as it's a 4-inch.
4 inches,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, tell you what, we'll include it, and then, we'll have it as a separate pay item. And then if for some reason we decide not to do it or
What
something
do you,
like that.
what do y'all think about that? The
I like the
horizontal
cable.
stainless cable?
That's what I like, because it's the least intrusive, I think, to the view.
Would you want wooden post, which saves a lot of money, or would you want steel post? And if you want steel, do you want a silver or a white or a black?
Are you talking about the post and like the?
Post in between the cables.
Well, I actually love the idea of having the brick on the columns at the entrance of the pier. I think it's
I just thought of those as being blocking a lot of view. We're on that theme of not wanting to block the view. And you have brick columns, you know, that's certainly a lot larger profile than a 2-inch square tube.
Richard, any preference on maintenance?
I would, I mean, Pressure Wood's a wonderful product, but if we can go with something that handles the weather better and is more maintenance-free, even if it's a powder-coated aluminum
You go
post
powder-coated
or
aluminum.
a stainless steel bollard-type post, something that, you know, 'cause the wood takes a beating down there. It's just, it's a maintenance item.
And I only really mention it for cost, because I know the others are real expensive, but I really don't think it's gonna be, in the scheme of things, would be much.
To go with like the stainless?
Yeah, I would
steel?
suggest the powder-coated,
Powder-coated
probably
aluminum.
powder-coated aluminum and.
Is that gonna look good?
Yeah, I know it'll look good. I got it on my back porch.
So come by and check it out sometime.
I asked.
I can show you pictures of it.
So it
I
sounds
don't know
like.
if I want you at my house.
Scott,
I'm tracking, so.
If you could work that in as an add-on and just,
Well, it'll just be a pay item that you
Okay,
can
pay.
scrap if you don't,
okay.
decide to do it. Okay,
All right.
that's all I need.
That it?
Thank you,
Anything else?
guys.
Do we need any other overview of the project? Is everybody pretty good at it, on it at this point?
I guess the only question I would have would be, you know, if the public's aware of, you know, the car, how that's gonna look. But I've missed, you know, I missed the last meeting, so I don't know if that was discussed.
We
I don't
did
wanna
discuss
rehash
the-
something that,
We showed the options.
And the
at
and the
last
layout
meeting.
of the layout of the property as well.
yeah. Okay.
And then I know we were having some discussion about restroom facility. Is that something we determine later?
We have one, and then the mayor sent me some ideas that I think we can incorporate into what we have right now.
It's similar, it's probably the
Right.
same thing we discussed in the one internally.
Right.
And that's
I'm
on
good
the
with that.
northern side of the project, right? I would say towards the northern side
Well,
of the project,
if-
not the southern end.
If, when you come down the hill to the base, it'll be over to your left,
Right. Okay.
in that kind of tucked in.
Kind of nearby where the.
It's where you're gonna
cable
have
car
your
would come out.
population density.
Right,
Right.
and the bigger thing there is it's out of the flood zone.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Anyone have any other questions for Scott?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All good.
Appreciate it. All right, the next item up on the agenda is the discussion of the Clock Corner Plaza project.
Good afternoon, and I will not take too much long here, but as you know, you went through the process of obtaining ownership of this corner, and then we had a little thing of some fuel tanks to deal with, and then we had a little thing called COVID to deal with, and some things got put on hold. As you are aware, the council generously budgeted this project for this fiscal year, and I know Councilman Burrell and Mayor Sullivan have been working to get this moving forward, and we just wanted to kind of reintroduce this project. Can you put that slide up, Joe? And I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I think it's in your packet, but I do want to kind of tell you where we need to go from here. Is CPLA did put together two concepts, one named Concept A and one called Concept B. And I think the biggest difference was that this has different colors of pavers with some designs in it that gives a little bit more of a visual appeal. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think the preference when discussed was toward the Concept B. Is that correct, Mayor? Okay, and I know, and I want to make sure that this is still correct. We want the ability to design these infill pavers with the ability to be changed out with memorial pavers, so that if people want to participate in that program, you have an engraved paver, you pull one out, you put it in, and so that paver could be specified to be that, and then we could have that program as for folks that want to participate in it. So what has to happen next is we need to go ahead and get an official project put together. That means is that we need to come back to you with a proposal from CPLA for an A&E contract. Christian did send me some notes. A couple things we do need to do out of an abundance of caution is we have a good survey of the site, but we do need to get some spot elevations because they probably have changed a little bit since we dug up tanks and put fill material back in, as well as an update on the utility locates. But the good news is this project is just a surface type project, so we don't have to dig into that ground. And then we'll be able to put together the standard specifications project and get it out to bid. So the next time you see us talking about this, we'll be bringing a proposal from CPLA to move this project forward. I think it would be my recommendation that we plan for the landscaping. That would not be part of the project. We would just plan and build the planter islands. Then our folks would come back and plant it and everything else. I think it's just much more cost effective that way, as well as I think we do that exceptionally well as a city and don't need to outsource it. When we come back for you with an agreement to go forth with a design, anything you're particularly wanting to see in this project, or any concerns you have, or any elements you'd like to be introduced, please just let the mayor know, and we'll kind of get together what that scope of work looks like, and everything else. I think a couple of key elements is, enlarging the circle at the corner around the clock as kind of a transitional area where the intersections come together, and then adding in the brick and row lock bands to give that circular pattern that is stacked together, kind of like the Olympic rings, which I think would be really kind of a good visual there. And I think that it would, that this project really just needs to be the paver part of it, and pre-plumbing some utilities, i.e. Irrigation for the planting beds, and making sure that we leave room and electric for the Christmas tree and things like that. And then we'd come back and take care of as a city, take care of the landscape part, and then we could work as a city to decide what kind of furniture we want to add as a hardscape element after the paver project. So.
And one thing, Richard, too, on B, I mean, we've really not talked about a seat wall for people watching. We talked about most of the furniture being movable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the council wants to see that seat wall or not. I don't know if they realize that that's part of that project.
I like the seat wall.
You like it?
I
Okay.
do.
Yeah, that would be a brick pilaster with some kind of finished top on it,
Yeah.
a hard material that is a permanent
Like a
part of the
limestone?
hardscape, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
In general, I like the idea of most of those seats being removable.
Yeah,
I think it gives you more flexibility with what you may want to do in that location.
yeah, I
What
think
type of events are there.
that is the intent, and that would be movable patio type, commercial grade, Parks and Recreation type furniture that could be moved in and out based upon the event or use. And, that's kind of where we are. We're ready to move forward, and Christian is going to have a proposal that includes the cost of getting a surveyor out there to get the elevation shots and update the utility locates. And hopefully, we'll have that back, could be back to you as soon as the next meeting.
That sounds great. Speaking of utility locates, so, or anything under here potentially in line for being upgraded in the immediate future? Is there any way to find out? I'd hate to do this project and then come back a year later and dig that up to.
I will re-ask that question of my brethren in the utility department, but I have a high degree of confidence. I know that Jason and I have met with the person redeveloping the building there immediately to the east, and they are going to be out in Fairhope Avenue at some point in time overnight to tie in a fire line and upgrade the water service to that building, but that really doesn't affect the footprint of this. And really the only thing, when we did the fuel tank removal, there are electrical primary that runs right there in the edge, but that's all sealed in conduit, and it should be good until we all retire, right, Conrad? So I think we're okay there. There is nothing else. The only thing I think that now runs under that paver is just the conduit we ran to service the Christmas tree. And there is some along the perimeter that do bleed over into the actual parcel the city bought. The electrical is probably off the sidewalk to the north by about a foot or so.
The other thing is, we're looking at this, we really need a pedestrian signal at those intersections, if it's something that we can incorporate.
Well, here's the good news, is we've got the design for it. It's already been done. It's just a matter of pulling, and that would be just a separate standalone project, because it would go to a company like Bagby or Russell that's a signal
We need to
company.
make sure we've got, some room there, and also, I guess, the power there to do that. At some point, we're gonna need to put that pedestrian signals. Traffic definitely.
Any other questions?
What is the, if you could say, what's being built on the east side of the courtyard there? Do you know what that's going to be?
Yeah.
It's an apartment upstairs.
Residential unit upstairs, and downstairs is commercial space.
Okay.
Does it
Now,
have
the
to-
reason I asked, I didn't know if it was going to be a restaurant. I mean, it's a public space, so I guess they'd have a use of it, but I wouldn't want them to think that
Those are
they
their
could have
tables.
exclusive use of that.
No, sir, it's a residential unit.
And they don't need.
They're gonna have a fine courtyard
parking.
there.
No separate parking required for that, correct?
So residential, they need separate parking.
All right, thank y'all very much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. All right. Council members, at this time, any committee updates? Councilman Burrell?
I don't have any at this time.
None? Councilman Robinson?
Nope.
Councilman Boone, no? All right. I don't have any at this time. Let's see. Department head updates. Start, Richard, do you have anything you want to cover?
Just the agenda items.
Okay, that's fine. You can address that now, too.
I can answer any questions about item number 7, the Writers College. And just so you know, thank you, Lisa. Our insurance policy did cover the Writers Cottage, and they're covering this 100% via insurance. So that's, we didn't really know it was covered by our insurance until we asked, so.
Good. Good find.
Number 8, and I do want to update you, and I hate even to catch the mayor flat-footed on this. I've waited and asked the state to give commentary on this. As you know, this was a project that is a MPO-funded project, meaning it's 80/20. We only had one respondent to the bid. It is a qualifying respondent, meaning they're qualified. There is nothing out of bounds in the bid other than that it did come in higher than the engineer's estimate, but it is below what the MPO originally budgeted for this project. I did inquire to the state what their position on a single bid that is higher than the engineer's estimate. Their response today is that we're going to leave that up to the city. We understand the city may want to reject it and rebid it. We had that conversation, but in the office of the engineer, they came back. Our concern is that you reject it, rebid it, you may end up right back in the same spot in a month and a half with a $40,000 increase in the project and one bidder. So ultimately, the only indication that I really don't like the idea of rejecting and rebid is that our goal, this is a 90-day project, was to try to be when school was out, and we're right on that course to be able to execute contracts, give notice to proceed, and literally that contractor's mobilizing the first day school's out, and you add 90 days of that, and they're finishing up right before school gets back in. But I think ultimately it's a council decision. Remember, our match on this for construction and the CE&I is 20 cents on the dollar versus the full dollar on the dollar. So you know, I don't have a strong recommendation other than the fact that by a rebid we may be right back where we are and possibly worse. We could be right back where we are and possibly better off. But we will end up with a project that is definitely overlapping into the school year, especially that first start of school at the end of August, which is not fun to start with when it comes to traffic conditions. Number 10 is, just to give you a quick background on this, this has been an issue that we've been dealing with. We've done several patches in this location. Back right before COVID, in that year's budget, you had provided money to address this problem. We got it engineered. We literally got the engineering back on about the last day of February 2020, and if you recall what happened in March, our world changed a little bit, and at that time it was the guidance of this council and the administration is let's hold off on any unnecessary spending until we see what the ramifications of the pandemic are. It got put on the shelf, and but our citizens' patience have worn out up there, and this is a section of North Drive that the geotech indicated was a filled section. It was filled with some organic materials, stumps and things of that nature, and that road has just slowly settled and collapsed, and our attempts to patch it have really made the ride and the look much worse, and it continues to settle and subside. This project is to cut out that half a block of road, go down 36 inches, geogrid, come back with rock, second layer of geogrid and rock binder, and rebuild the roadway. It's just work we can't perform because it is road rebuilding and road resurfacing, which we're just not equipped to do. Again, it's a sole respondent, but it is a good contractor that we have experience with, and they can do this work. Number 11 is with the Nick Center, which I've just been rudimentally involved, but definitely supportive of it, and Paige probably can answer more questions than I can, but it's the replacing of the ceiling tiles throughout the facility, which is being covered by the insurance settlement we got from Hurricane Sally. Number 15, and just so that we have clarification, this is out in Stone Creek. This is a portion of drainage. All of it that is clogged lies within the public right-of-way, so it's ours to maintain. We have a whole section of road that continues to flood. The pipes are completely occluded with sand and silts, and the request, which was reasonable from the property owners who continue to get their yards flooded out, is to get those pipes cleaned. The problem is those pipes immediately run into a submerged pipe into a pond that is there. The pond is the POA's, but the pipe leading to it is ours. And we have a quote from Ranger Environmental, $5,580 to clean that run of pipe that is basically from about when you come in the entrance, it's a pipe that starts picking up inlets on your right-hand side that runs all the way down to that pond that's in that center area where the road divides and goes all different directions. And it's, again, one of those things we don't have the equipment or the ability to clean it, and it's expensive, but it needs to be done. And considering that those pipes have been there for almost 20 years, and this is just a cost of maintenance to make sure that drainage works correctly. Number 18 is, as you know, every other year we have to have bridge inspection. This is just our year, and that is a request to go ahead and execute that contract. Our due date is June and July of 2022, so we've got to get them cut loose to get that done.
Richard, let me stop you here.
Yes, sir.
I felt like we just covered this sometime.
You
I could've
authorized
swore
the
I saw that.
selection.
Oh, we authorized a selection?
Yes.
That had to be more than one meeting ago then.
It must have been 2 meetings ago.
Okay.
And that's all I have on the agenda. I'd be glad to answer any questions, and, you know, I'm not sure, I wish I had a strong position to advise you on Gayfer. I'd really like to see that project get going, but if you guys feel that it's worth taking the risk to re-advertise, see if we get a better price, I'm willing to take that ride with you.
Well, I wanted to come back to that one, so I'm glad you brought it up. But item number 8, council, and I've talked with Richard about this maybe a couple weeks ago, just in general about effort he's put into trying to obtain more than one bid, and I think there's a function right now of it's just hard to find companies that are available and willing to jump on some of these projects. So how do y'all feel about this? I mean, I know personally I wouldn't mind seeing us get that wrapped up and completed prior to school being underway, but I don't know, how far off are we on the bid amount? Well, do you recall what that was?
It's about 120,000 higher than what the engineer estimate was, and you know, I thought the engineer's estimate was a little bit lean personally, but I don't know if I was clairvoyant when we put the budgetary numbers together when we submitted this project for initial consideration of the MPO, but it was larger than this number. So meaning that at least the MPO set money aside, so we don't have to go back there and ask for more.
Okay, so if they've set more aside, even though it's above
The engineer's estimate.
estimate, they're still gonna pick up the full 80% of that?
Yes,
Is that how y'all-
yes, we're under the MPO's budgeted amount,
Okay.
but we're over the engineer's estimate.
We're talking $24,000.
Right, to the city. So what do you?
I would
mean-
think we should move forward with it because, you know, if this was something that we could wait 5 years on and wait for something to come down that wasn't as critical, I think it is critical. And I think that for $24,000, we need to,
And there's
we
always.
need
a
to go ahead
chance
because there's always the chance that
It comes in
it
30
won't
or
come down.
35,000
Right.
out of pocket.
Okay, very good.
Are y'all on board with that as well? On moving forward with it, even though it's above the original estimate?
And I believe, and I don't want to misspeak, we budgeted upon the MPO numbers, so I think we're also okay on our end of budgeted amount. It was
Okay, it's just above the engineer's estimate.
So,
Good, sir.
All right.
thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Next up, Bobby, great tournament this weekend. You want to, or Friday?
Thank you. Just be real brief, we had a great tournament. I'd like to thank Jake DeFee with Smart Bank and their sponsorship, but he did a great job organizing the event, and also Meg Lowry, the FIF director. She just did a great job keeping things organized. I think it was the most teams we've had in several years. It was well represented by the community. I understand from Davis that they raised more than $60,000 for the cause for FIF. So it was an excellent day. We have a real busy March and end of March and April coming up. In May, we've got a lot of things on the books, but went very, very well. And so I appreciate you all playing. That's all I have.
Councilman Burrell, how'd y'all do?
We played okay. We didn't get the
didn't
money,
win?
but we
You didn't win this year?
Yeah.
All right,
played all right. We didn't embarrass ourselves.
good job. Thank you, Bobby. Kim, did you have anything today?
As I sent y'all an email on Friday, our audit did get released on Friday. It is on our webpage. I've got to still finish up some single audits to the Federal Clearinghouse. But in a hope that we'll have the auditors here next month to go over the audit. So I didn't know if y'all had any questions. I want to thank all the staff that helped because it was very challenging this year. We had lots of grants, and so it was very time consuming.
Well, thank you. I hadn't had a chance to review it yet. I did see that y'all had uploaded that, so good job. Any questions? Did anyone have a chance to look at that over the weekend?
So, but if you have anybody
Looked
asking,
good. I did look at it.
well, it's on our website. If anybody wants to look at, we put that out there on Friday.
No major findings or anything like that?
Mm-mm. No,
Okay.
we had really a lot to come off. We had one thing from the airport that added, but we had everything else. But we have a deficit or a discrepancy between some deposits of the utilities in our general ledger.
Yeah, I did
And that
talk
has
to you
been
about
there
that.
since 2017 when they went to Munis. So we've just got to get in there with Munis and figure out if it's a report that's being ran, but the number keeps moving, and so we've just got to figure out that, something in Munis, we have a little hiccup. Other than that, we had the airport, a finding come back on the airport side, so, anyway.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Chief, anything? Nothing for you? We are going to pull item number 23 from the agenda tonight. That event is not prepared to move forward at this time. Let's see. Pat, do you have anything tonight?
I don't have anything on the agenda, but I'll give you a quick update.
Yes, sir.
Of course, we're wide open with spring sports right now. The fencing, the ornamental fencing is going up at Fells Park this week. We're taking down a section at a time as they work. We remove more sections to try to create as much or little disruption as possible. There's a lot of people in that neighborhood that like to frequent that park every day. So we're trying to coordinate that and make it flow efficiently so we don't have to close the park completely down. We've been, as you know, working the concession stand with city staff the last 2 Saturdays. From all accords, everything's been great. We have not received any complaints. I don't know if the mayor's have received any calls or not, but My staff has done tremendously well running that, and, we'll do it as long as we can and do the best we can.
Y'all enjoying it?
Yes.
Good.
Other than that, that's about all, unless you have questions for me.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Terry? Is this your last time to come before the council in this?
Next time I walk on this carpet, it'll be flip-flops. Yes, sir, it is last time.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you worked hard and earned it, and probably excited to retire, but you'll be missed. And
I'm ready, but thank you.
all right.
I'll be around, hopefully, for a while.
I'm sure.
I don't have anything really for the gas department. I got an item on here. If we want to go over it, number 12. And that is Neptune Ertz for our gas meters. We got some gas meters that'll be on the next agenda that these go on. So that's really all I have. If y'all have any questions about that.
All right. And that's just stocking up inventory, right?
Yes, sir, to go on the inventory, go on the meters, yes.
Any questions for Terry, council members?
Now's your chance.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
That's right.
Oh, no, we got you. No, we call you anytime.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Keep it to yourself, though. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. Jason? How are you doing this evening?
All right, how are y'all?
We're good.
I got several things on the agenda, I think. First one's number 9. That's kind of, that's replacing the whole lift station, not just taking the brick mortar building down, demolition, okay?
Had a question about that.
I had a
That's
lot
the
of questions
entire
about
lift
that.
station. Sir?
I had a lot of questions about that when I saw the demo. It was $247,000. I was going to suggest hiring 5 people on the staff.
Yeah, we could have done that.
So is the lift station, is the bid broke, is the rebuilding the vast majority of the cost?
Yes, sir, and the equipment, pumps, controls, and all that, yes, sir.
Okay.
And it's an above-ground station now, and it's going submersible. So the only thing we're reusing is the wet well, and it will be lined.
Okay. What size line is that going in and out of there?
Sir?
What size line does that serve? How big is the pipe?
Oh, it's nice, 8-inch going
8
in.
inch.
There's 2 coming into it, and then it's a 6-inch force main going out. What's a, 6-inch force main.
How many pumps does that have?
There's 2, and we're putting 2 back. So 1 and then redundancy.
Don't feel a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I also want to mention, this is one of the projects that we talked about doing with the ARPA money that we received last year. So this is one of the lift stations that were on the top of our list originally.
And we got the ARPA, okay.
And it's my fault, I just didn't look at it that close until today to see the wording on that. So if
Oh.
I would have read it when it was sent out, we could have, I got with Lisa, I just didn't. So you can blame me for that.
No, you're good.
And 13 is us, that's the water meters. We're having a tough time, which our department typically doesn't buy the meters. It goes through the metering department, which is stock. The only meters that our department buys are 2-inch and larger, and they're for the projects. But there is a shortage of meters. We ran out of meters last week. We did call around. I think Consolidated got us some from Montgomery to get us by. These were supposed to be delivered in May, so that's why you see the 500. And that's also why, if you've seen online, that we're not doing irrigation meters right now. We just don't have the meters. But we're trying to maintain new services for drinking water right now. 14, at KRS 8700, that's our corrosion inhibitor. And 16 is the incubator for the wastewater plant.
All right, council, any questions for Jason?
Good, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Conrad, do you have anything today?
Yes, sir.
All right. Corey, anything? Paige, I know you've got the item, what did we cover? Number 11 at least, but Richard said he could handle that too.
And the only thing I'll add to Richard is that, again, that is an insurance claim, but also too, when we get into those ceiling tiles, there may be subject to a change order if we do have some insulation that needs to be replaced. So just be aware of that. 34,000 number down there will be subject to change because, as we know, the roof leaked there, and we are expecting a few of those insulation, well, at least within the ballroom, that may be needing to be replaced. So, and then just remind folks, I know we've got probably a council meeting before that. We do have a couple things coming up in April to keep everybody in the loop of what's going on. We've got the Easter Bunny coming to the Welcome Center that we kind of do in conjunction with the Downtown Fairhope Business Association. And, of course, the Eastern Shore Optimist Club has the sunrise service on Easter morning down there at the Rose Garden at 6:30 a.m. And then I think Gary Gover is in the audience. So we also have Earth Day Mobile Bay at the end of April on the 23rd of April, Gary. So just some things to take note of that are coming up in April.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hunter, I know you got some items.
I have 2 public hearings, so if you want to discuss those, if not, I'll take my item.
Council, do y'all have any questions on those now, or you just want to wait and let them introduce them and hear the discussion at the time? All right, sounds like we'll hear about it
We'll hear about it
at
then.
the council meeting. Eric?
Hardly wait.
Yes, sir. I have item number 20, which are the third-party reviews. We have some big projects coming in. We have the second building at the USA Map Center that's coming in, and we have the Carmel Park Flats apartment complex on Twin Beach Road, and that's actually going to be 9 buildings. They have 4 building types, and we're sending 2 out for review because they have ADA issues and being able to convert to ADA, and we want to make sure that's come up on one other project. So we're going to send those out, and to remind you, this is the pass-through. We collect a plan review fee. This is done through our account with the ICC, and I've ran the numbers, and the cost of the reviews is approximately 28 to 31% of what we will actually collect in plan review fees. So it'll more than cover what we're doing.
Are you happy with them? Obviously, you must be because you keep coming back with these.
I am.
You kind of look at it, you feel good about it?
I do.
How thorough they are?
Yes, sir. And what they're going to do is they're actually going to break it, and we'll get review reports for building, for plumbing, for electrical, for mechanical, ADA, and sprinkler. So they do a very comprehensive review, and, you know, they've been good. They've been very timely in their reviews, which is what helps.
Okay. All
Any
right,
questions?
sounds good. Anything else? No? All right. Jessica? Nothing? All right, I got a couple items that I didn't get. Anyone, so I'll just ask real quick on the DARE for the 40,000 for the SROs. Would that be Chief or Kim, or who would handle that? Chief, all right, well, she's out. Okay, but that's basically just a provide a wrapped vehicle, right?
That's us accepting a donation.
Yeah,
That's
a donation
Yep.
to wrap the vehicles. No.
It's a purchase
Okay.
of a vehicle that is a DARE vehicle.
Purchase of the DARE vehicle,
Yes.
which is wrapped in the DARE. Got it. Okay.
$40,000.
40 grand, yeah. Let's see, number 19. Okay, is this working waterfront? All right. And 21, job, okay. You want to cover it all now, or if there's any questions?
So, as most of you know, that we had the Auburn study done, and then We just, as these jobs are coming up, we want to make sure we have a job description for them and that it's been adopted by the council. So this is one, it's a crew leader for the line crew. And we have a gentleman, Ian Morrison, who's kind of been serving as the crew leader for the line crew. He was recently promoted to the line foreman. So we really needed to officially create that position so we could move somebody else into it to take the lead on those crews for project management. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's not changing the pay grade or anything. It's just creating the job.
Okay.
It does not increase the FTEs or anything in the department.
All right. And then 22 is just to use the sidewalks and grass area at Utopia Park, and this is a same event that was held last year, I believe, this time. Okay. Well, that pretty much wraps up the meeting agenda. We've got, yes, sir.
Hate to bring up a sore subject.
No.
Item number 8, Kim and I just had a little confab. We're going to need to change our recommendation to reject and rebid.
Okay.
A couple of little idiosyncrasies. When it advertised, I reckon the assumption and hope was that it would be below the $500,000 threshold. Since it came in at 524, there's a question whether our advertisement would meet the federal standards of 3 distinct statewide papers at 3 different times, where we use the Gulf Coast News, 3 papers 3 times on the same date, and we don't want to take the chance of getting down the road and having it come back to haunt us. So since this is technically, it's federal dollars through the MPO, we got to make sure that we meet that advertisement.
Can we vote on it tentative to a decision that we met the advertising requirements? Or are you pretty certain not?
How quickly can we get this back on? And can we,
We would have to advertise it in three newspapers statewide.
I'm just trying to think, can we get this done by April? I mean, end of April, how long does it have to be advertised?
30 days.
It'd take us 21 days, and that's all based upon when the paper says they can get it in, and we complete the 21 days. So really, theoretically, we could have it back and open, if we get everything just right, a month from this meeting,
So,
at the earliest.
okay.
And we will do our darnest to do that.
Okay. Would be great to get that project going over the summer, and on the early part of the summer. Okay, so reject and rebid number 8. All right. What I was gonna say, I mean, council, we've got almost 35 minutes. If there's anything, Mayor, that you want to cover or anything y'all want to discuss, I hate to waste time. So when we get to the council meeting, we can hopefully move fairly quickly if there's anything we need to cover now.
The only thing that I just want to cover with everybody is, the Church Street infrastructure project still going on, and we closed that intersection of Fairhope Avenue and Church. We are having a few, not hiccups, but just, a few issues that we're working through with the merchants, making sure that we have good signage on the sidewalks. I think the contractor's done a really good job of creating pedestrian access around that intersection. We are having some people, of course, that get on the sidewalk and they don't understand which way to go. So we're going to be doing some short videos to explain to people how to use those crosswalks and how to use the sidewalks there to make sure they're not turning around, just in an effort to help those businesses that are being impacted by that closure. We want to do everything we can to move that project along. We are staying in touch with the contractor. Jessica's doing a great job communicating with them. We're getting text updated every day. So, Richard's down there with them. George Ladd's down there with them. So again, but just doing everything we can to lessen that impact to the businesses in that area.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I know they'll be happy to see that project move quickly, but it'd be more important to get it right the first time so we're not coming back and touching it again. Council members, anything y'all would like to discuss while we've got the time?
You got a report? You got any committee reports?
Jimmy, do you want to let Hunter go ahead and tell us this? I mean,
Might as well while we got the time, Hunter, if you want to discuss. I mean, it's just it's a public hearing, so it's really just opening the floor. But if you want to talk about it a little bit, we can. he's gonna have to say it again.
Well,
At the
yeah,
time of the
I
council
mean,
meeting, you know?
Yeah,
So
well.
he's gonna have to
then
address it again. but-
Save it.
That was my thought, but
Yeah.
really,
We wanna hear it twice?
What else you got to do?
Councilman Robinson, anything you wanna address? Councilman Boone?
Okay, that's what.
All right, we got about a 30-minute break.
I'm good.
then. So, 30-minute break, and we come back, be ready to start the meeting at 6 o'clock.
Can't do it.